And I don't mean that they stink as in they suck. I mean they stink as in they smell really bad. Now, I was familiar with this. I heard about it, that motorcycles emit some sort of odor, brand new motorcycles. Never experienced it. This is my first ever brand new vehicle of any kind. And as I said, I expected it, but I didn't expect it to be quite as bad. So a few kilometers after the dealership, the engine had warmed up. I came to a stop, my visor was up, and it hit me. This really, really nasty smell that you otherwise would never ignore, burning plastic, burning wires, I don't know, really nasty. And despite being, aware of it and expecting it, I couldn't resist to call the dealership and ask them, is this really what it smells like? Is this really okay, this bad? And they said, yes, it's very noticeable, just keep driving, it's gonna go away. And sure enough, it did go away after about 350, 400 kilometers maybe. You get used to it and it's like stuck in your nostrils and you always feel it, you kind of go crazy from it, but it does really go away after, in my case, about 300, 350 kilometers, fortunately. What is the smell? Where does it come from? I have no idea. The internet consensus seems to be that it's some sort of anti-rust varnish coating they put on the engine. Others say that it's some sort of coating that is specific to the exhaust manifold area. I have no idea, but it is really nasty and kind of annoying, but fortunately it does go away.
As you may have already noticed, this is a Honda CRF 300L Dual Sport motorcycle, probably one of the best sold bikes currently on the market. Now, this is a bike with 28 horsepower and 286 cc of displacement. What I'm trying to say is that it's not a very fast bike. I mean, to me it is fast, but more on that later. The problem arises when you combine 28 horsepower with the brake-in instructions presented in the owner's manual. Having 28 horsepower means that when you're merging onto fast roads or highways, you usually need to go full or near full throttle and up to 8,000 RPM to ensure that you adapt your speed to the speed of the traffic quickly and safely. But you're not supposed to go full throttle or do aggressive acceleration during the first 500 kilometers. The result is that the break-in period is a bit of a pain, and I was honestly forced to ignore these instructions once or twice. Nothing too harsh, but I'd rather not risk getting hit than worry about the perfection of the wear pattern inside my engine. You've probably heard about the alternative approaches to break-in, the stuff that requires you to go full throttle to ensure better break-in and, ring shapes and whatnot. Well, the deal is that once you actually buy the bike with your own money, you sort of forget these theories and feel it's best to go by the book. So if you do buy a small displacement machine, it's a good idea to find a long, winding road with a little traffic. This will force you to constantly vary the throttle input, which should improve break-in, and it will also rack up miles fast to help you get through the break-in.
I feel like that the less experience you have on a bike, the more useless reviews can be. Of course, before buying this bike, I watched and read a lot of reviews about it. And if you watch reviews, you will see that a lot of people think that this is a slow bike, that the suspension is too soft, maybe that the front brakes feel kind of mushy, stuff like that. The issue is that reviews are made by people who have a lot of experience on motorcycles, many different types of bikes, many miles of riding. And of course, they review every motorcycle from their own reality. That's how being human works. We perceive things from our own reality. The problem is that someone else's reality is not your reality. So if you have very little experience on a motorcycle, like me, I have a total of about 3,500 kilometers of riding, and my reality is that I can't feel any of these things that people talk about in reviews. I have no idea how mushy or non-mushy a front brake is supposed to feel. To me it feels great. I squeeze the brakes and the bike stops. It stops well even on hard, sudden stops. The engine has plenty of torque, and I feel like it can handle so much more than I can actually throw at it. When it comes to the suspension, funnily enough, it feels really stiff to me. because it's a lot stiffer than the suspension on my used NX250 Honda Dominator, which has like 500,000 miles, so probably everything is worn out. Basically, from my reality, from the reality of someone, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. I forgot the road. So from the reality of someone with little experience, this is an Africa Twin. And I'm sure that over time these feelings will fade. They will, they will become less pronounced. I will grow out of this motorcycle, and that's okay. I'm supposed to grow up things. I'm supposed to, move and evolve at my own pace. But if you watch too many online reviews, you end up feeling like the only thing that will make you happy is a Tenere 700, Yamaha. And the reality is that with very little experience under your belt, that bike would be too big, too heavy, too fast, too overwhelming. And I know that the idea of growing into things can seem sensible, but I'm sure it can also be very frustrating if you buy something, that is too much, if you bite off more than you can chew. So I prefer to enjoy things at my own pace, in my own reality, discover myself, the bike, the world around me.
I always believe that the term dual sport is a bit of a gimmick, because bikes that look like this, to me, just look like street legal off-road machines. I mean, the big mud guards, the knobby tires, the giant ground clearance, the tall seat height, all of that to me screams off-road. And I believe that these bikes must suck on road, and being on road with a bike like this is just a necessary evil when you're transversing, and connecting to off-road trails. But this bike taught me that dual sport actually means dual sport. Now, I prefer off-road riding. Ever since I discovered off-road riding, I really like off-road riding because I think it's the most efficient possible shortcut to a real sense of adventure. Within a matter of, 15 to 20 minutes to half an hour, you can be in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by beautiful nature, and have this sense of true freedom, and I can go wherever I want to go. And plus, I feel that being off-road is a bit safer, because when I'm off-road, I'm the only variable. Wildlife doesn't text and drive, unlike humans. I feel that, middle of nowhere is safer than traffic. But this thing is shocking me and scaring me by how it's managing to make me fall in love with asphalt riding, on road, regular riding. A twisty road with this thing is a joy. It's the bike feels sporty, accurate, confident, stable. It's actually inviting you to push it, a bit, and try to increase cornering speed, to be brave and lean a bit more. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of scared of the fact that I'm enjoying asphalt riding, but I can't lie to myself. And how this bike manages to do that with knobby, inexpensive tires from a brand I never heard about before, I have no idea.
Now this is the big one and the key reason why I made this video. This motorcycle costs 6,000 euros, and for me this is a lot of money for something that is basically nothing more than a grown-up toy, a form of personal entertainment. Justifying this purchase was very hard for me until I realized that I was being extremely stupid. Allow me to explain. The first grown-up toy I bought was my Toyota MR2. I bought it back in 2014 for 1,350 euros. I bought my first bike, a Kawasaki GPZ 750R, in 2019 for 250 euros. After that came the TZR 125 in 2020 for 800 euros. And finally the Dominator 250 in 2022 for 1,600 euros. As you can see, the price of the bikes slowly increases as I kept making the same mistake over and over. I wanted to reduce the financial burden as much as possible because I couldn't justify spending money on grown-up toys. But each time I would actually end up spending money, more money, and a lot of time trying to fix the bike. The GPZ was so bad that I couldn't even get it started, so I just sold it. And I also discovered later that the frame was bent. The TZR I painstakingly rebuilt, and then it died on me after just a few hundred kilometers. The Dominator was finally decent, and despite being a very high mileage bike, it got me through my first riding season and took me everywhere with just basic servicing. I am forever grateful to it. But even that, because it's old, is now starting to make problems. The speedo died, the tachometer works only up to about 5,000 RPM, sometimes the bike refuses to start, and so on. The problems are beginning. The whole idea behind all of these grown-up toys is that they're supposed to re-energize and revitalize me. This is why the channel is called Driving for Answers. I bought my MR2 with the goal of rebuilding it and then driving it, and through driving and enjoying it, I was supposed to look for the answers to the big questions in life. Originally, this was supposed to be a channel about philosophy, psychology, and self-introspection, and for some reason my idea was to deliver that content while driving. Turns out that I ended up having more fun looking for totally different answers after I got engulfed by the MR2. Now, what I'm trying to say is that all of these rebuilds and all of this work was incredibly valuable, and I learned a lot, and it changed my life, but I realized that I'm slowly becoming frustrated because I never managed to satisfy my original goal. And my original goal was seat time. So far, I have managed to spend 80% of my time building and only 20% of my time riding and driving. Building is fun, but for me, there must be balance. The goal of building is to enjoy that which you have built. Otherwise, I personally feel frustrated. And I realize that if I want to make sure to actually get seat time, I must purchase something that does not need building, and that something is a new bike. Initially, the CRF seems more expensive than all of my other purchases, but this is an illusion, because over the years I spent a lot of money on all of these things to get them running. But more importantly, I spent incredible amounts of time on them, and time is most certainly money. So although the CRF seems more expensive, it really isn't if you add up the time and the money spent in the long run. But the real catch is that I feel like the CRF has already managed to buy me as much, if not more seat time than all of these other machines combined. The first 2,000 something kilometers have been pretty much zero work, just pure enjoyment. Get on it, start it, go. No need to fix anything, no need to order parts, no need to, do a million things just to get on the road. And after years of building and fixing, it honestly feels liberating. But this is why balance is important. I probably wouldn't even appreciate a new bike if I hadn't gone through all the fixing and rebuilding. And the knowledge, experience, and joy I got from fixing and rebuilding is truly invaluable, and I would never undo it, even if I magically could. So basically what I'm trying to say is that if you're in a stage where seat time has high value for you, then the price of a new bike is realistically far cheaper than it seems, and it buys you far more seat time than most used machines will. It all depends on your current priorities, and it's very important that you value things not in terms of their absolute price, but also in terms of your personal priorities, time, and opportunity costs. Now, the final point of the video, some of you may remember that a while ago I asked whether I should make a sub-channel for motorcycling content or post motorcycling content on this existing channel. Well, I decided that neither of these two scenarios will be happening. I realized that I'm enjoying riding far too much to ruin everything by putting a camera on myself all the time. I may post something once in a blue moon, but that's about it. There will be no regular moto vlog style content. If I start recording, then I'll just start thinking whether I should go here or there. Is the camera angle good? Is the lighting good? Is my riding good? All of these things that completely ruin the feeling of freedom and enjoyment. And honestly, I don't want to ruin this beautiful world that I discovered. And I'm certain that many of you can relate and understand. I feel like I really can't bring any true value with my writing content and adventures and exploration. It might be fun, but it will take away a lot of time and energy from my main content, and I'm sure that the quality of my main content would suffer because I'm already spending all of my time on the main content. So basically what I want to do is use writing for my personal enjoyment, to re-energize me and to make it possible for me to keep making the original, the main content, and keep improving it and keep going further in that direction, and basically enjoy writing as it is. Because cameras, I did it with the MR2 many times. Recording when you're driving or writing, it really makes things hard and ruins it, and then you're just thinking whether the footage is good or not. And I really don't want to do that. I'm just having far too much fun doing things as they are. So maybe I'm gonna post something, as I said, from time to time, but really there will be no regular content. I am sorry if anyone expected it, but as I said, I'm sure that you understand. Thank you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, thanks a lot for watching. I'll be seeing you soon with more fun and useful stuff on the D4 channel.